Okay, this will be the last day plus setup, which will happen on Thursday. Let me just delete the Thursday candle. So this is Wednesday, same thing, repetitive thing, same thing. You're gonna mark Wednesday's high, Wednesday's low, midpoint of Wednesday, and then you always gotta look to your left. What do I have here that can help me? Order blocks, fair value gaps, and in this case, you have this fair value gap here. It's a bullish one-day fair value gap. We're in a bullish environment, so you're gonna look for those. Now we had a C2 closure to the downside here. Wednesday swept Tuesday and closed back inside, so now I'm predicting that we're gonna have a down movement on Wednesday. Wednesday opens at 1800 hours. I did align myself here and I took a short on Asia. I think over 100 handles I took on this short on Asia. But you have to be very careful because this is the bullish environment. You have to really know what you're doing. So that's why I'm only focusing on the ones that are going along with the trend, with the daily candle. It is possible to do. My executions are posted. You could go watch my breakdowns that I did for that day. However, I'm gonna focus New York on the New York session because this happened during Asia. Asia could be a little bit tricky. Asia can sometimes give you good setups, but for the most part, in my experience, it doesn't, at least in the model I trade. Okay, so notice how we have a bullish fair value gap here. You have Thursday opening low, going into this bullish fair value gap, having a big rejection wick from there, about 245 handles rejection wick from the bullish after taking previous day low here. So then we go to the 1 hour, right? So our bias right now, because you had a C2 closure here to the downside, but you had this Wednesday candle dipping into a 1 hour, I'm sorry, into a 1 day bullish fair value gap, and we are on a bullish environment, then you want to consider this, right? Um, we drop now into the 1 hour chart. Notice that in the 1 hour chart, this is what Thursday's open. It opened low and then it went high, right? Um, at around 1 in the morning, it came to this fair value gap. There's a fair value gap here. It had a good reaction, started trending higher, came into this other fair value gap here, and then changed the state of delivery right here. At around 8 in the morning, price changed the state of delivery on the hourly. And then 9 o'clock came down, swept 8 o'clock low, giving you a C2 closure to align with your bias with this fair value gap that we have here on the daily. We marked the midpoint of 9 o'clock, and you want price to respect the midpoint and go higher, right? Now, notice where the midpoint of Wednesday is at. It's up here. So this is where I was a little bit confused, right? I I'm not going to sound like I already knew what he was going to do. I was confused this day. Why? Because we're way below the midpoint of Wednesday, but we opened low, went into a bullish 1 day for value up. We had a massive rejection. We shifted structure and we had a C2 closure to the upside. But if you notice, we also had a C2 closure to the downside here, there. And on the 4 hour, you also had a C2 closure to the downside. So this is where I was confused, and if I'm being honest, I made my decision after the peace talks, the tweet or the message from Trump came in saying that they were already finalizing the talks. They just needed a signature, and it was most likely going to happen. That sort of gave me the extra confluence for me to long it, right? Because remember, on the daily you also have the C2 closure to the downside here. So you could potentially have Thursday go lower, but the delivery happened during Asia already. but you could potentially have it go lower still. Um, so after that um, tweet or that message from Trump came, that's where I made my decision. Okay, I'm going with the C2 closure from to the bullish. We're in a bullish environment. We went into a bullish 1 hour fair value gap. We had a bullish C2 closure. We respected this fair value gap here, and then we also shifted at 8 o'clock, change instead of delivery on the 1 hour, ignoring that we were below previous day midpoint and ignoring the higher time frame C2 closure. So that's why I'm saying it was a bit confusing. I have to keep it honest. I'm not gonna sound like I was just very clear on this trade, right? And I just want to give you my train of thought, like what was I thinking and why did I make that conclusion to go long? So in addition to that, you have the 5 minute chart here. You see that the 9 o'clock candle is here, the 1 hour 9 o'clock candle is there. I marked the midpoint, which is this one here. It has 9 CE. 10 o'clock, when 9 o'clock swept 8, we expect 10 o'clock to go higher. You also have the confluence of the 4 hour. 4 hour swept 6. I'm sorry, 4 hour candle, a 6 swept 2, and then you want 10 o'clock to go higher. So you want C3 to go higher, C3 to go higher in the 1 hour. They're both aligning. But again, you had a C2 closer to the downside, and also the 4 hour had a C2 closer to the downside. So this is where narrative comes in place, right? Like what's happening? Where are we tapping into on the daily? Did we have a good reaction? Yes, we have a massive reaction from that daily wick as soon as it tapped that 1 day fair value gap. Again, I said the wick was a rejection wick of about 345 handles or something like that. So that was a good reaction from there. So now ignoring the bearish C2 closures because of what I just mentioned, and ignoring that we were below previous day midpoint. So 10 o'clock opens high, and that's not what I want. See, it shifted um, structure here on the change on the 5 minute. It did a 5 minute change instead of delivery there. The moment it went above that, and then you have a bullish fair value up here on the 5 minute there. So you have that. You have the bullish fair value up there. So what I did is I waited. I waited for price to reclaim the midpoint of the previous day. I didn't want to just go long at the top of this fair value gap here because we were still below that. Price could reverse with all these C2 closures to the downside, with the C2 closure on the daily to the downside. So what I did is I allow price to come into the 5 minute fair value gap, telling me that he's respecting it, reclaiming the midpoint of the previous day, changing the state of delivery here at 1040. Then my entry was at 1045 as he touched back the order block. And we were above the previous day midpoint already. We respected the 5 minute fair value gap, and we respected the midpoint of 9 o'clock. Yes, we opened high, and that's why I waited for all these extra confluences. Then I entered at 9:45 and I got I think 121 handles for 2.5 R, and I exit there. So yes, this was a little bit more confusing. I believe that this week was a little bit more confusing. Sometimes we just have a C2 closure on the daily. We just trade C3 on the daily, C3 on the 1 hour, C3 on the 4 hour. We just wait for 10 o'clock to open low, change state of delivery and go. Well, this time it was more, you have to react to it. You have to analyze it, and that's trading. Nobody, no, if somebody's telling you, "Oh, you just have to do this," and no, you have to react. It's easy on hindsight when you have it and you back test and you see when it happened already. It's very easy. But when the live markets are happening, this is where you have to make decisions based on your screen time. So I can give you this strategy and I can explain it to you and I can hold your hand like a little kid, but you need screen time. You need this type of reactions that you have to make and decisions by watching thousands of hours of this. So it's not easy. And I hate it when people in social media says, "Oh, well, this is very easy." No, it's not. It's very difficult. It's very difficult, especially if you don't know how to lose. Because if you were wrong here and you start going on tilt, then your C2 closures go down the drain. You forget about all that. You just your brain switches into defense mode, like I need to help you here. We gotta save this money, we gotta get it back. And it just goes into a whole different level. So trading is not easy. But if you have consistency and discipline and you set rules, then you'll make it. Anyways, this concludes the breakdowns for this week. I did take a long on Friday, but that was prior to the 9:30 open, and I don't want to give you that as a plus setups because sometimes 9:30 manipulates pretty bad and can take you out. So I don't want to say that that's a plus setup. I'm giving you the A plus setups that have higher probabilities here. But if you want to see my other executions, I go in depth and I explain everything on on my previous post. All right, have a nice weekend.